After all, prior games give franchise fatigue and do not prefer RPG approach the franchise has taken. There are still common elements such as modern day story. But since the beginning, Valhalla has redeemed the modern day story. Yes, the modern day story ends up very good. The game as a whole, the modern day story is like what's in the modern day is actually not bad. Especially towards the end. Towards the end it's pretty crazy. It's pretty dope. Putting players on a new path. To do so, subtle payoffs for Origins Odyssey, some surprises. Thanks for Assassin's Creed 2021. Yeah, a lot of subtle course correcting. Please no major spoilers are ahead. Unavoidable costly mistake of Assassin's Creed. First day, the mistake was unavoidable from a narrative standpoint as the stakes from one day story put it all on the line. As many fans know, closely connected games that are connected in a strange way for overall modern day story. There have been 3 effective arcs: Desmond Miles storyline in AC1, Helix Initiate storyline from AC4, and the Layla Hasana storyline introduced in Origins. Correct. Okay. And the Helix Initiate is a good way to say it because in one of the games we're an Abstergo agent, and in another one of the games we're an Initiate. So I guess it kind of sums it up. After Desmond's death, we get fatigued with setting, blah blah. Initial storyline benefit trying to put a player into the story didn't quite land. That's correct because it's a single player game with their characters, not a first person game. That's why. Yeah, trying to bend the fundamentals of the game really. Modern day protagonist, beginning of this. I didn't really like Layla as a protagonist. She didn't really have any like development or any like she's kind of bored. Like I guess she had a bit of development with the staff and stuff, but it was kind of I didn't really like her like personality or whatever, or like didn't really like her character. Didn't really have enough, like back and forth. Didn't have enough like things to like her and things to like relate to her. It was just like kind of stale in the sense like even her character development was about her getting over her like her killing her friend, and even that was like so minor. I wasn't really not that great, to be honest. Nothing compared to Desmond, that's for sure. The death of Desmond and allocation of generous plot online to a cosmic comic series fan made modern day storyline more disjointed than ever. Yes, and calls to end modern day storyline Assassin's Creed, but that would be a vital part of its identity lost. Instead, Valhalla does the unthinkable. It corrects Desmond's death. Having Sean and Rebecca back in the modern day story goes far with this, and while it may seem later's time in the sun is over, it's hard to say exactly if Valhalla is indeed set up new modern day story or if it's just perfect coalescence of everything thus far. Yeah, I wonder if the new modern day stuff in the next game is going to be Rebecca, Sean, and Basim. And maybe even William Miles, like all on the group along the Altair 2, which is like a boat, basically the headquarters of the assassins. Fans have to wait and see how that goes, but there's one thing that's clear: Desmond's death matters again. Valhalla the reader. Okay, so this is definitely Desmond then. Players introduced to the reader in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I didn't really understand. I kind of got his voice. It kind of sounded like him, but I wasn't 100% sure. It's been a while since I've heard his voice. So yeah, I didn't really pick it up straight away, but yeah, I didn't know who it was at first. Subject 16, because he was kind of like in the Animus kind of systems, but not really. I was kind of just spitting nonsense, but yeah, it definitely makes sense that it's Desmond, because he pressed one of the orbs and Layla pressed the other. And also, Minerva did say to Desmond, the better choice is to let the world get destroyed, because even though people will die, you'll live on and people will learn from you, and you'll be able to shepherd them and lead them to a great future. So I guess in that sense also she kind of had the idea that the catastrophe like won't occur again. That's like the good timeline. Anyway, Layla natively joins him in his task. However, players are quick to notice that the reader is voiced by Nolan North. Body shape is different, body shape is different for sure, but undeniably Desmond. Physical body may be gone, but it continues to work. In other words, the game has brought back Desmond's story without changing it, retconning it, or doing some strange revival. No, it's simple. The game has brought back the story by continuing his story. It didn't change it, it didn't retcon it, because there's no way for this to happen, because it's post his death. Like, Desmond isn't back. He's not. They didn't bring him back to life or anything. This is actually a very simple solution. To bring back a Desmond story, you got to continue his story like as it goes on. And another way to do this is to bring Desmond's son into it. He's actually in the comics and he's actually a sage. But I'm not sure if he's still alive or not. But anyway, regardless, like I can't believe he hasn't appeared in any like AC game, like Desmond's actual son. Especially since he's mentioned in AC3. Simply continues his story with new elements that propel him one day story forward while not forgetting Desmond's sacrifice. That's good. Where the story goes from here, the reading accomplishes the next few games remains to be seen. All cards are back in play. Juno may not be exactly, but again, there's a lot of course correcting without sacrificing everything that's been developed. It's quite a feat for Valhalla. Maybe very, very well give its DLCs, future games, new ways to keep one day story relevant. This is good. We've got a bunch of stuff here. Who's the reader? Enters the grey. Introduces himself as the reader. True identity not revealed. Reader will probably timeline predicts the future timeline is to find one where humanity is not entirely wiped out. Noble tasking these ways a white torch interested in saving humanity. White torch. Is that a reference to like Fantastic Four, Human Torch? Later enters the grey for the first time, meets the reader. There is something distinct about the voice acting. Voices have been the same in original Assassin's Creed titles. It belongs to none other than Desmond Miles, actual protagonist of the AC titles. Reader is Desmond Miles, who is now reading the probable timelines in the grey. It is Desmond Miles. In the game universe, the original identity of the reader is not revealed, but the voice of Desmond Miles cannot be missed. Okay, well, I missed it. Just because I'm not good with voices. He's long dead. AC3 Miles starts with finding a central vault to stop the world from perishing as he relives the memories of one of his ancestors. Finds Juno and discovers her plan of destroying humanity. He is faced with the choice to touch the pedestal, release Juno, but save the world, let Earth perish. Sign that Juno is less or too evil, she embraces the pedestal. The only caveat here is touching the pedestal will kill Desmond Miles. Yes, we know this. His physical entity, right. Died in AC3, decided to save humanity, release Juno into the world. Following his death, bodies recovered by Abstergo. Character still plays a vital role in AC Valhalla. We did see him in Valhalla. Is an afterlife realm where Desmond Miles' artificial intelligence resides, which is the host of his memory and personality. In the grey, he's looking at all possible timelines to prevent humanity from life-threatening fate. What happened to Layla? Is she dead? Layla enters the grey to meet the reader, where she comes to know that Desmond is doing the same thing she came to do. The only problem is that Desmond still hasn't found a solution. Layla explains that there are still billions of new options, that they need to expand their search. She has a limited amount of time to exit the grave before the radiation destroys her physical body and she might get stuck. But she decides to stay in anyway. Decides to stay in the grave with Desmond to explore new timelines, find a solution for survive humanity. Her physical body is destroyed by radiation and she has no connection left with the physical world. She is dead concerning the physical world and now exists only in the grey, just like Desmond. Okay, so now I want to go to... I don't want to read too much more of Ivor's because there's still stuff that we haven't read yet, but what I do want to see is what's this? Arabian Empire, okay. It's also a reincarnation of Issy Loki and retained all of his past memories. Inherited the memories of Loki, who had seeded his genetic code into humanity's gene pool to circumvent the great catastrophe that will destroy his flesh. So first Civ and be reunited with his lover, Alethea, whose consciousness was preserved within his staff. Okay. Who is the son of the architect who constructed the great Musca of Samara. Okay. in 87 BC was stationed in Constantinople. A fellow hidden one informed him of Amun's mission. He was killed by Sigurd Storbjörnsson during a mission in Bulgar. So he's actually killed by Sigurd? So he didn't want to inform him of Amun's mission in Bulgar and his death. Disappointed in his acolyte's death, his interest was piqued when he once told Basim of a Norseman with a mark on his neck. Okay. Decides to move to England. Okay, it's shot to Ford in Hortifolka. They found an ancient EC ruin containing Yggdrasil, Animus-like supercomputer. Consumed by Loki's memories, Basim attacked them. So was I wonder if Basim was consumed by Loki's memories the whole time? I'm guessing, right? Or was it only like at a certain point? Ava herself, reincarnation of Odin, wondered to find Basim was trapped within the device. She's journeying there herself of Hermes. She contains the device. It's got the Basim consciousness has been retained. So the shade simulation. Layla sacrificed her corporeal form to enter the grey. The reader, but Basim was freed and the staff spared his body. Then visited Rebecca Crane. Blah blah blah. Everyone had been buried. He wanted to send a couple of ways to bring Assassin Mental William Myers. Okay, then access Animus to take advantage of the bleeding effect where he waged face-to-face meeting. Man, Basim is a huge character, dude. Loki snuck into Yggdrasil chamber, waited. Only trusted 8 had uploaded themselves left before striking, killing all the guards and scientists present. Loki then killed one of Odin's followers, took his mask before uploading himself, subsequently reincarnating into Basim, right? Yeah. Here we go, upload his DNA. I want to know more about his plan, though, with Alethea. Alethea was the castess of Atlantis around the time of the human Issue War. Unlike many of the known Issue who were deified by the human slave species, Alethea became personification of truth and was repulsed by those among her own people who had embraced divine status. So Alethea, my impression to her is that she's not like super bad. You know, she's not a bad person, but I wonder if the whole point of the whole point of the DLC of Odyssey and all that stuff was to get the staff to Cassandra and let her teach her to use it, and then eventually make its way to the heir of memories, who would then save the world and take it to the Yggdrasil. So all along, Loki's plan was to go into the gene pool and make his way to Yggdrasil. So then Alethea can meet him there in a way, using the Air of Memories, using Layla. So then, when and basically Alethea trained Layla to be selfless with the staff and try and figure out a solution for humanity. And therefore, Basim would be released from Yggdrasil and be reunited with her. Alethea was later gravely wounded, and Loki, wanting to save his lover, transferred her body to the staff of Eden. So that she would one day interact with the keeper of the staff and help the staff heir in her journey. She also made numerous recordings on the Olympus project and stored them away in the gateway of the Lost City. She also made numerous recordings on the Olympus project and stored them in the gateway to the Lost City. Interior vault. Alright. The project scientific exercise by Issue Juno, her husband, to develop a series of hybrid beasts using adopted humans as guinea pigs, powered by purpose-built precursor relics and less artifact. That's right. Living weapons strike fear in the hearts of humans as tensions were escalating between Issue and their servants. Largely successful with its own creations, long outlasting the Issue themselves and becoming legends in Greek culture. Yeah, this is all the ancient creatures, like the Medusa and all that. Alethea, the casters of Valhalla, who stopped Juno enter back in the time, later documented her knowledge of the project in her messages located in the gateway, where later revealed by Pythagoras and his daughter Cassandra. Alethea used memories of her investigation to create information which allowed Cassandra and later her son to witness the Genesis Olympus project. Okay, so here we go. Alethea was considered a god of Greek mythology, which is known as by her Roman counterpart Veritas. The Norse name for Alethea was Angerbodor, which is the Jotun. Her name Angerbodor could also be translated, blah blah blah. Okay. Here we go. Impression of Alethea on the laptop, and Angerbodor, which is the lady from Jotunheim. So 2018, Layla kept a record of her findings about Alethea on her laptop. In 2020, when the planet stabilized, Alethea contacted Basim. What else do you want to know, guys? I don't think there's really anything else that's I'm too crazy about. What the hell? What the hell is this? Is this comics? Who the hell's Go? Okay. Well, whatever. That was just random. So may not being else going on. Definitely Vinland. At some point, Ava will travel back to Vinland near the modern city of Concord, where she would ultimately be buried at. Okay, so she died. So they're in Vinland right now. They're in the Newfoundland area, like the northeast coast. Huh. Okay. What else do we look at? Nothing really, I guess. Two major endings of Valhalla, but your choices will affect either Sigurd leaves or stays in with Eivor at the very end of the story. These are the choices. It will lead to Sigurd staying in Norway at the end of the game to ensure that he stays your good brother and friend and fly back to England. Make sure that you choose these options. Much happy ending for everyone involved in the game. Is okay. If you want a full picture and further understanding of the game's ending, it's highly recommended that you complete all 10 Animus Anomaly puzzles in Valhalla. Luckily, we did that. Doing so gives you access to a secret cutscene, which will make you're less confused about the twists that happen at the end of the game. The elements anomalies may be a bit of a hassle, but they're worth it. Okay, yes, they're very worth it. City staying in Norway and ever becomes the yellow variant orb. If you have 4 or 5 negative choices against Sigurd, ever ask for Sigurd to return, he will say no. Okay, nothing really there either. They're going to be playing her again as long as DNA-based memories, Layla. What's going to happen now that Basim's out in the world? That much is unclear. Well, Basim has managed to heal himself with his staff. He's still an Isu. I mean, technically, is he though? He's an Isu in mind, but not in body. In fact, he speaks to Alice inside his staff, who calls my love, says he remembers to perform the task perfectly. That was apparently always destined to die in the vault, bringing him the stuff of power and Alethea, letting him out into the universe. An issue in new body and a stuff ultimate power. Oops, yeah, well, my bad. Next 10 years, AC organized, yeah, well, we'll see about that. Whether we'll see Layla and Reed again is unclear, but Rebecca, Shawn, and Basim are clearly our modern day protagonists for the foreseeable future. Yeah, Basim is very interesting as a playable character, because as a playable character, like, it's very conflicting. You can't support him, 100%. Basim first requested to meet Desmond's dad, William, the head of the assassins, and who knows what his true purpose is. Yeah, I hope he doesn't fucking kill William, dude. I kind of want Basim to be on our side, like, as an assassin. Desmond's dad being picked off by Loki. And the opening of next year's creating one? Yeah, well, let's hope that this doesn't happen. Getting out Valhalla DLC on the way, nothing's true after all. Righto, yeah, makes sense. Louise Blades, okay, cool. Oh, I'm too tired, man. I'm not gonna continue anymore. We got Treasure Hoard Solutions. We still got a couple more, I think. These are Treasure Hoards in case I make a mistake. Inactive map. I don't really need this anymore though. How to get Excalibur Greatsword. These are the bureaus which we've got. I'm pretty sure. I would like to get this sword eventually. Need a shop guard. We don't really need this anymore. Here we go. I wanted to read some of these. I'm just going to skip through and see if there's anything new. If there's nothing new, then okay, it makes more sense if you finish both Asgard and Jotunheim storylines. Okay. In main story ending, heading in mythical arc. Okay. Finish the whole story. Okay. Right, it does. Now back into the more fantasy elements. RC DLC, Mythical Realms, blah blah blah, Central Story. I want to skip this because I want to see that eventually. We know who Sigurd is. Alright, so you pretty much read this, right? So let's read this red article, and then we'll get off. It doesn't matter if reincarnation Odin. Yes, we know about this. The castles of Atlantis LLC as Angerboda. Son named Fenrir. That's actually what I want to do. Oh, this might be spoilers actually, because I haven't done the yeah. Odin fighting Fenrir in Abel's vision. It's an issue presented by ACR. Odin remembered in Norse mythology, legendary wolf, by son of Loki. Elder sibling of Jormungandr and Hel. Okay, well, let's stop there. Loki is blamed because he was made a woman out of his and not of his own kind. This is why Asgard quest Smith's Island, we see the skin color of Angerboda is different from Loki. This implies Angerboda LLC is not the same species as Loki. Yeah, Loki is an Aesir Isu, and Alethea is another different kind of Isu, but it's like they're both the same race. We know Alethea is an Isu. Unclear what Loki is. Loki is an Isu. He's an Aesir Isu. I don't think their species are different. I think this is not true. I think maybe there's slight differences, maybe, but I guess their species. I think the best way to explain it is that they're of a different race, but their species are the same. They're both Isu, except the Aesir Isu are like, you know, different race of like human beings, you know. The child is shown as a wolf. Loki is shown as a humanoid figure, and Althea is shown to be as a blue-skinned giantess. Odin met when Harvey Odin knows he's going to die, so he's searching for a way to signal mortality. Althea and Loki know the method, but refuse to help Odin because Odin has imprisoned their son Fenrir. Okay. Jamie said Iron will quest. Odin meets Hirokin. Hirokin is seen. Odin meets Hirokin. Hirokin is seen while talking to Angerboda Althea. Who's Hirokin again? Oh, it's Juno. Oh my god, okay. The Illuminati cast, that's right. Illuminate cast were her and Aita, that's right. Okay. Because apparently, I think she died, and I'm going to prove it down here. It will probably show. I'll see his new body. Doesn't really show. Resurrection and death. Anyway, she ended up dying. Juno in Buckingham Palace vault, huh? Didn't even know that was there. There you go, that's her death right there. She gets a new body. And gets stabbed. I think it's right to left. I don't know. And she gets stabbed and killed. Juno as Hirokin. Hirokin seen while talking to Angerboda or Alethea. Is that behind the glass, like the ice wall? I thought it was a male's voice though. So I'm not sure about this. Hirokin teaches Odin how to guarantee his immortality. Hirokin's appearance is similar to Angerboda, and that means they're both Isu. In fact, Hirokin is Norse name for Juno, and she also wants to use technique for achieving immortality so she could have her husband Aita Also, Isu and a scientist. Okay, so somehow Juno learnt Alethea and Loki's ways to transfer consciousness through the genetic gene pool of humans, and she used that on Aether. So, but it originated from the Norse Isu, the Aesir. In fact, Roken is Norse. Yeah, we read this. Odin used a method for seeking immortality. Sacrifices left eye. Then he asks Hirokin or Juno about what sacrifice is. And Hirokin explains that his sacrifice is her freedom because the two people who she one ruled. What? Hirokin explains that her sacrifice is her freedom because the two people who she one ruled with, basically Minerva and Jupiter, will haunt her because using the technique will achieve immortality is a crime for them. The name for Minerva and Jupiter is Sutungur and Gunloader. Okay. There are three ruling Isu people. Draken, Sutungur, and Gunloader are called Juno, Jupiter, and Minerva in Norse language and ideology. The triad are also referred to as Father, Mother, and the Sacred Voice. Yeah, different class. Different caste system. Interbreeding between castes was probably frowned upon. That's right. Loki had completely overtaken his mind when he wasn't talking to Ava or Sigurd as much as he was talking to Tyr and Odin inside them. So Ace and Isu as well, but from a different caste city again, same height, look as everyone else, and she's fuck black. Freya is from the third different caste city as the Yo and all the Acer. She's a Vanir, yes. She's a different class again. Ava's dreams, the Aesir, Jotun, Loki, and Vanir Freya hoping them are at war with the Jotun, even though in real life the war is probably a battle of conflicting philosophies and not physical war. That makes sense. Real mystery is what exactly happened between real life Isu Odin and real life Isu Fenrir. Yeah, we don't know who Fenrir is as a person, as an Isu. Because as a wolf, that's in the Nordic mythology. In like the actual fact, real life, we don't know what he looks like or who he is. But they definitely like must have fought or something. Odin at the end of Valhalla's story is kind of a bad guy and Ava rejects him. Yeah, I kind of got that. Maybe Basim Loki's rightfully justified in his hate for the Mad One. Yeah, also makes sense. This is the kind of grey area, right? Like Basim Loki could actually be a good person, like actually be like a quote unquote good guy. But it would be that would be really interesting, and I think that would be really cool because Loki has this preconception just because he's Loki that he's like a bad guy, manipulative. But maybe like it's fully good this time. And if he actually assists the assassins and he actually has a significant, like he says he wants to take it to the Templars and take the war to them, so he could become a really good asset. But after that, who knows? He might want to rule, eventually. But at the end of the day, maybe he just wants to bring his family together and that's it, After all, it was very good. Fenrir did nothing wrong other than being born different, and for that he was imprisoned by Odin due to his paranoia. Well, Fenrir's actions afterward are a consequence of his unjustified imprisonment. Yeah, born different. So I wonder if he was like, maybe he had like a mental condition, or he was had some sort of, I don't know, disease or some like he was degenerate, some sort of degenerate, like according to the Isu, like philosophies or whatever, or culture. Yeah, Loki's paranoia led to Odin's paranoia, which led to Fenrir and Odin's complete hatred for each other, complete apathy for hatred to others. AC might be hybrids? Maybe. AC appear to be human AC hybrids mentioned in Odyssey's Atlantis missions. That's actually a possibility with Eagle Vision. Interesting. Spoilers. Cracked mirror as a scene someone from the mirror speaks. Named Hush Voice. Maybe it flew over my head. Do you know any idea who this might be? Desmond, aka the reader. Okay. So the person behind the mirror is actually Desmond. They search for a future to prevent Ragnarok and billions of possible futures. Be clear for you when you see the cutscene later in the game. Voice sounded a little different? Yeah, a little bit. It did. Sound a little different because it ain't the reader in this instance, it's Ezio. The entire scene is of Gunlad, who's actually over his interpretation of Minerva, delivering messages to the prophet who was Ezio. That's also possible. I mean, whether it's Ezio or Desmond, it doesn't really. The difference is kind of minimal because in the end, whatever Ezio experiences, Desmond also experiences in the end. So. Asgard Yoho explores Ava isn't the actual Asgard Yoho, it's how Ava's mind is comprehending it during her visions, right? Because at least the way the Yoho shown is different way of seeing certain individuals. If you didn't notice, Gunlord Hero and subject all are voiced by the same actresses as Minerva, Juno, and Jupiter from previous games. The senior thing, Cracked Mirror is Gunlord or Minerva also driving herself to insanity, trying to use calculation to contact the prophet. Basically, it's her perspective of the message. From the end of AC2, she obviously doesn't send out that moment, but she's evidently able to later. Righto, that's enough theory crafting and kind of explanations for today. Yeah, dudes, that's it, man. I wanted to really get into it. Yeah, I really wanted to get into it in the lore since we're like at the end of the game now. Hopefully, like you kind of, it's kind of good because I think it's refreshing and it's like you're learning, like along with me. And I don't have the best memory, so sometimes there's things that I know and and have vague ideas of and memories of that I don't fully remember. So I go to the wiki a lot. A lot of the time, more often than not, like I can keep away from any spoilers, but sometimes it happens, like on accident, but at the end of the day, like, I kind of just, like, put it at the back of my mind and play through the game and still experience it for myself. And even if I'm, like, spoiled on it, then it's still, like, an enjoyable experience to like, see it, like, play out. For the most part, I didn't really get spoiled on too much. Except that Angerbroda was Alethea in the end, and that was kind of when I clicked, like, like in the end of the day, like that's why the staff is here. That's Alethea, and Loki got hooked up. He's gonna live somehow with his staff, and they're gonna be together. So I really, really want to know. Like, I really, really be interesting to see. I think his objective in speaking to William and starting with the assassins is that his probably number one objective is probably to find Fenrir and I think he has other sons. I think like the World Serpent and Hela or Hel, in Norse mythology are his kids as well. So I'm not sure if they're actually his, if he actually has those kids in the real, like in the actual past, in the factual past of the Isu like past, if he had those kids, or if he only just had Fenrir. Um, and I want to see the reincarnation of. He's probably trying to find the reincarnation of Fenrir, right? Like the human equivalent. In the real, like in the real world. Um, but yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed like me, the recapping and the researching, the post end of the game, or the post like Assassin's Creed like side of the end of the game, all the assassin Templar issue type of stuff, mythology type of stuff. I think it's really cool. um, Again, it's kind of far. All the mythology stuff is kind of far away from, um, like the real fantasy stuff is far away from the assassin stuff. But what isn't far away is, the ancient tombs like the Yggdrasil, the ancient technology like, these the gray, like these simulation kind of areas, these high technology, the Isu themselves, the one who came before the first civilization, like that's kind of where it expands into the whole mythology thing. So even though like seeing it as Fenrir, or seeing it as the Jotuns, as frost giants, like that's kind of like, that's kind of like over the top in the sense of like, Assassin's Creed was, at least from one to, like from one to Brotherhood, three. It wasn't until like Origins, until it got to Origins, until where the mythology stuff kind of started to come through. So up until that point, it was pretty much all just like ancient technology from the Isu, and the only connection they had to mythology was that their names were, they were named after Greek gods or whatever. But now we're actually seeing in game mythology, like mythological stuff, like like in the Odyssey DLC, you had Hades and like Atlantis and stuff like that, and in this game you have like the frost giants. So it's just a bit more confusing because like there are different interpretations now of each of these like characters. Like there's going to be alternate versions, so it's kind of confusing, but it's kind of hard to like put together like who is what. Instead of seeing Minerva, Jupiter, and then Juno, or any of the issue like directly, like as you do like in their kind of get up, where they're kind of in like this, the kind of yellowy golden look, and they have like, usually they have the helmets, like how you see Minerva and Juno, and how you see Alethea in the DLCs. They're kind of like this projection, but you kind of see them like that in the real world, or in like in a sense. Ezio's seen them as a projection, but again, it might just be his perspective. His the way he sees them is just normal, as opposed to like Eivor and Cassandra. They're so far behind, like so far back in the timeline. They kind of like they see it as their own mythology, their own kind of gods. Like especially in Valhalla, like it's all, the Norse mythology. So Eivor can't really see Minerva, Jupiter, and Juno as they are, because her understanding of the gods are different. So I guess that's the explanation, right? Like if they're Greek gods, and you're seeing it from a perspective of someone who doesn't understand, believe in, or even know about the Greek gods, then how does they perceive them? How do they perceive those people? But at the same time, like if it's a projection, they can just appear as their normal selves, their normal human selves, like like Minerva, just they can be shown as however they want. But I guess it's for the sake of the game, for the sake of the gameplay, and there's probably some sort of explanation that someone can like cook up. But yeah, anyway, that's it for the stream, man. 8 hour stream. We've done, we've done a lot. A lot of the hours of stream today was actually probably just going through like wiki and reading through stuff. So hopefully it's not too bad. But yeah, dude. We finished, like the story is actually pretty interesting towards the end. Like the game as a whole is like, it's good. It's good, not great, because the middle part of the game is just the supposed meat is just about the Vikings and raidings and getting alliances, and stuff like that. You know, there's not much like assassin focus until it's only at the start and at the end. That's the assassin focus with, you know, Basim coming in, Basim and Hasim coming to Norway, stuff like that, and we learn about the order, we get the hidden blade and stuff, and then it's, you know, not really much, and then at the end, finally we've got, you know, Isu like sites, and we actually go there in real life, and you know, we have the staff, and you know, it's just stuff like that. So I mean, actually, Basim is now a playable character. So yeah, dude, I actually hope with the bleeding effect, Basim, like obviously he'll gain his cool skills, but I really hope that if Basim is kind of bad or has like, you know, like manipulative ulterior motives, I hope that the bleeding with Eivor, as Eivor is a good person, I hope that that kind of good personality would bleed into Basim, and he would become a little bit more like, the dial would kind of, you know, lean a little bit more towards Eivor, a little bit more towards like being a good person, as opposed to like, to me, Loki and Eivor are kind of on like opposite spectrums. Like, I think if Eivor's, you know, son was trapped or whatever, he would have the same anger and revenge kind of path as Loki. So I guess in that sense, they would probably kind of be the same. Like, I could definitely see Eivor being that aggressive and all, and going for revenge. But at the same time, at the end, he rejected Odin and chose life, you know, as opposed to like Loki. You know, he chose you know, his family above, for the most part. But he also, I think, is, you know, I also think he's manipulative, you know, and vies for power. And as a state of being, like Loki is very like aggressive and manipulative, and he wants revenge. And Eivor, you know, although it's granted because of his loss, but Eivor hasn't really got that loss yet. But he kind of did because of his father, and he still ended up a good person. So in that sense, you know, Loki's here and Eivor is here, and Basim is somewhere in the middle, like wherever. And I feel like, hopefully Basim, like, you know, and Loki, as they combine together, the dial is somewhere like, you know, in the middle towards the left, you know, more towards Loki's side. And I hope that, you know, bleeding effect with Eivor, and or maybe over time, like in the real world, Basim slowly like goes towards, you know, the good side, you know, towards Eivor, supporting the assassins. But I guess that's wishful thinking. Like, at the end of the day, we still don't know if he does get his family back, which is obviously a noble cause. Like, it's a good thing. But if he does get his family back, like, what happens then? You know, like, he's a person with issue memories. You know, he knows how, you know, things work a lot more than like humans do, like technology. He could definitely help us, but he could also definitely create, you know, weapons, you know, weapons, issue technology. He can manipulate probably any of the issue like artifacts. What if he takes like he could very easily grab an apple of Eden and start controlling people. You know what I mean? So like, it's hard to justify that he wouldn't take that kind of power, because it's, you know, so easy. But yeah, I mean, I'll be keen to see him in the next AC game if we do. Be very interesting, and I would enjoy it very much. I think I would very much enjoy Basim as a character, because then I would love to see character development from him. You know, becoming like a, you know, like a good person, a better person, a true like assassin. You know, like Basim was a true assassin, but in the end, his mind got taken over by Loki to, you know, to a point, right? So I feel like now in the modern day, he's more Loki than Basim. Um, so yeah, hopefully he can sort of transition into being like a you know, a better person, a good person. Um, Other than that, my thoughts, don't really have much thoughts. So I think that's gonna be it. I'll see you guys next time. We're gonna finish, since we've practically done all the, you know, the Assassin's Creed mythology stuff with Basim. I guess I'll finish the Asgard stuff. Guess in chronologically, I was probably meant to finish that first and then finish the game, but like finish, you know, the whole Basim stuff. It would make more sense in the story, but yeah, I guess it's still like fresh, you know. It's still like, it's still gonna be fresh in my mind. So I'm still gonna understand the ending, and you pretty much know what's gonna happen. Like not know what's gonna happen, but it still makes sense, right? It'll just give extra context and extra, it's extra sort of exposition to the ending, extra info. And we actually get to see it, which I think will be cool. But yeah, next stream we'll do that. We'll clear out. We don't really need to clear out Asgard. We've cleared it, but we'll finish the story quest. We'll go back to Jotunheim, finish that boss, and then we'll probably go back to Norway. We'll probably clear out Rigafalke, all that area, and then we'll go to we'll do Hygafalke or Hydafalke, clear out that area, and completely finish Norway, and then we'll go back to Hamptonshire and do the story for that. So probably next stream will be Asgard, and then Norway, Rigafalke, probably finished. Stream after that will probably be, if I bring it up here, right. So my body's blocking it. Okay. So we've done 8 hours today. So next stream would probably be, give me 1 second. 166. Man, I'm starting to get tired. 70, 74. Right? Yeah. 174 hours. So next stream will be Asgard and Rigafalke. Stream after that would be Hordafalke, and then stream after that Hamptonshire. Maybe we'll finish it in this stream, but we'll see. But I think three streams max will be finished, clearing out all the areas. But yeah, see how we go. And then after this, I'm not really sure. As I said earlier in the stream, not really sure what's going on, but maybe I'll do God of War next until maybe Outriders, maybe, see how we go. This is pretty much my slots for the rest of the year. Humankind for a little bit, Returnal, see how that... This is kind of just... This isn't exactly exact how many streams I want to do. It's just like, I've just done a random block. But yeah, however long it takes to finish it, Biomutant, Final Fantasy Integrate, Russian Clank, Kenna, and see what we got next. So yeah, guys, put that away. And yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for people coming. Thanks for my friends who've come in to chat. And yeah. Yeah, stay safe, guys. If you want to catch me on Twitch or YouTube, it's Fantom1080. Fantom with an F, 1080 as in 1080. So Fantom1080. And yeah, catch me out on Twitter too. It's the same, Fantom1080. And I think that's it. Stay safe, guys. Take it easy. Fantom out. Peace.